Hello and welcome to Eurofootball Daily, where today we're listing 10 of the best owners in European football. 10. Vichal Srivaddhanaprabha. Thailand's Vichal Srivaddhanaprabha is a multi-billionaire thanks to his chain of duty-free shops, and his King Power brand is plastered all over the kit and stadium of Leicester City. He picked up the Foxes in 2010, and the club managed just one win in their first 9 games of the season, slumping to the foot of the championship. But canny signings, like the £400,000 transfer of Riyad Mahrez and the appointment of Nigel Pearson, took the team back to the Premier League in just 4 years. 2 seasons later, they completed their astonishing rise with their first ever title win, thanks to the gutsy hiring of Claudio Ranieri and investment in backroom staff. But the club wisely downplayed their extraordinary achievement, dismissing talk of retaining the title and focusing on an enjoyable Champions League run. Whatever happens in 2017, Srivaddhanaprabha has given Foxes fans a gift they never dreamt of. 9. Jack Walker. Jack Walker died in 2000 after 9 glorious years at the helm of Blackburn Rovers. With Rovers hovering around the relegation zone in 1991, Walker's arrival allowed the side to spend £25 million in just 3 years at Ewood, a huge sum back then, and twice they broke the transfer record on Alan Shearer and Chris Sutton. Walker famously hated Man United, saying he would make them look cheap, and was delighted when Blackburn pipped the Red Devils to the Premier League title in 1995, further taunting Alex Ferguson by blocking a proposed move for Shearer to Old Trafford. But United had the last laugh, relegating Rovers on the penultimate day of the 98-99 season. After Walker died, his daughter foolishly sold Rovers to Venky's, a family-run company which has subsequently run the Riversiders into the ground. Walker has never been missed more. 8. Maxim Demin. Russian Demin is the mysterious benefactor behind Premier League club Bournemouth, buying 50% of the Cherries in 2011, when they were sitting 21st in the Championship. Reportedly, that share cost him just £850,000, but he subsequently invested more than £10 million, even enticing Real Madrid to play a friendly at Dean Court in Carlo Ancelotti's first game in charge of Los Blancos. Ronaldo scored twice in a 6-0 battering. A return for former coach and player Eddie Howe showed Demin's understanding of the club's fan base, and in 2015 Bournemouth won promotion to the top flight for the first time ever. Despite a stadium which holds just 11,500, the Cherries have held their own in the Premier League, with Demin allowing club record moves for Max Gradel, Tyrone Mings and Benica Fobi. An amazing success story, but we're not sure they'll play Real Madrid outside of a friendly anytime soon. 7. Sheikh Mansour. Man City were a club on the rise in 2009 when Emirati businessman Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan paid over £250 million to acquire them. The management of Sven-Goran Eriksson and Mark Hughes had the Sky Blues firmly ensconced in mid-table, and Thai tycoon Thaksin Shinawatra had invested heavily. Under Mansour, the club became an empire. City gained franchises in New York, Melbourne and Yokohama, built one of the world's best youth facilities and joined Europe's elite. 2 titles arrived in 2012 and 2014, and City's ambitions were crowned with the appointment of the world's most coveted manager, Pep Guardiola, in 2016. With world stars like Kevin De Bruyne joining and youngsters like Kelechi Iheanacho breaking through, Mansour has overseen a revolution in Manchester. He doesn't own a team, he owns a dynasty. 6. The Agnelli Family. For 93 years, the Agnelli family have owned and run Juventus, as well as Fiat, Ferrari, Jeep and Alfa Romeo. That means that out of the 61 trophies Juventus have won in their history, the Agnellis have been in charge for 60, barring the Bianconeri's first title win in 1905. The most important of the Agnellis was Gianni, who ran the club in the 1940s and 50s and personally pushed through the signing of Michel Platini in 1982. He was instrumental in forging Lo Stile Juve, the Juventus style, and these days the club is run by Andrea, his nephew. Andrea took over the side in 2010, managing the transition to a new stadium and rebuilding a club still reeling from the Calciopoli scandal. He appointed Antonio Conte, and later his controversial decision to hire Max Allegri was shown to be a masterstroke, with Juve having now racked up 5 successive Scudetti. 5. Roman Abramovich. An orphan who made his money in oil, Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich considered taking over Man United, Tottenham, Liverpool and Arsenal before buying Chelsea in 2003, choosing the Blues because he already owned a house in West London. And Abramovich brought a swagger to Stamford Bridge from day one, trying to tempt Alex Ferguson away from Man United before bringing in Champions League winner Jose Mourinho. In the 13 years under Russian rule, Chelsea have won 4 league titles, 4 FA Cups, the Europa League and the Champions League in 2012. With 13 managers feeling the axe since Abramovich took over, the big man will always have his critics. But the club have gone from irrelevance to major players in just over a decade, and the supporters' chant of "We ain't got no history" is the perfect compliment to the owner. 4. Fergus McCann. Canadian businessman Fergus McCann was born in Scotland and retained a love for his homeland, showing it in saving Celtic from bankruptcy in the mid-1990s. With the side hours from liquidation, McCann bought 51% of the club for just under £10 million and paid off another £7 million in debt. Not content with mere survival, McCann reinvigorated the hoops, raising millions to redevelop Celtic Park and bankrolling new transfers. McCann never sought the spotlight, claiming he would stay only 5 years and make sure that Celtic won the title again. They did so in 1998, preventing a record 10th title in a row for rivals Rangers, and McCann kept his word, selling up in 99. In a final act of generosity, McCann set up a system to encourage fans to buy shares, meaning that supporters owned nearly 2/3 of Celtic when he left. And the proof of his work is in the trophy cabinet. The boys have won the league 11 out of 17 times since 1999. 3. Jean-Michel Aulas. One of football's toughest negotiators is in at 3. It's Lyon chairman Jean-Michel Aulas. Born near the city, Aulas has owned Les Gants since 1987, amassing a fortune of more than €350 million in the process. The club was in debt when Aulas joined, but he overhauled Lyon's structure and finances, taking Olympique from the second division back to European competition. In 2002, they won their first title ever and went on to win Ligue 1 an incredible 7 times in a row, later making the Champions League semi-finals in 2010. Lyon also boasts one of Europe's best academies, producing talents like Benzema, Martial and Lacazette, and finding top prospects like Michael Essien and Eric Abidal, whom they later sold for huge profits thanks to Aulas' business savvy. Think of him as the French Daniel Levy, but much, much richer. 2. Massimo Moratti. Former Inter Milan owner Moratti is in at number 2. The Italian bought the Nerazzurri in 1995 and immediately made Inter major players again, attracting Ronaldo to the club in 1997 for a world record £19.5 million. 2 years later, Inter broke the record again, this time paying £32 million for Christian Vieri. Under Moratti, Inter won 5 consecutive league titles between 2005 and 2010, also picking up the Champions League as they became the first Italian side to win the treble. 16 of Inter's 39 trophies came under the petroleum billionaire, with fans getting to watch Ibrahimovic, Figo, Eto'o, Vieira and Roberto Baggio light up the San Siro. Though he gained a reputation for axing managers, Moratti's ownership was one of the most fruitful periods in Inter's history. Over the last 3 years, he has sold his shares to Chinese and Indonesian investors, but was deservedly named to the Italian Football Hall of Fame in 2013. 1. Markus and Katharina Liebherr. Swiss-German businessman Markus Liebherr and his daughter Katharina have worked wonders with Southampton. Markus acquired the club in 2009, reportedly paying just £15 million for a side languishing in the 3rd tier. Despite suffering a 10-point deduction for financial issues, the Saints were in the Championship 2 years later and won back-to-back promotions to reach the Premier League after 7 years away. Since then, Saints have bought and sold brilliantly. In 2014, after losing Mauricio Pochettino, Lallana, Lovren, Luke Shaw and Callum Chambers in one summer, they were considered favourites for relegation, but went on to record their highest ever finish of 7th place. The next year they came 6th and made annual profits of £33 million, twice what Liebherr paid for the club in the first place. Now, under Claude Puel, they once again seem primed for success. and it's the Liebherrs who have turned sinners back into saints. So those were our 10 best club owners, but who should we have included? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Now if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out the latest episode of Stat Wars, where I take on Chris Hamill at a series of challenges, and spoiler alert, I end up eating baby food. And as ever guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.